So much like the video process.
Welcome. My name is Sue Scott, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. Hello. My name is Sue Scott, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church, where our mission is to explore the eternal, nurture community, and pursue the common good. We welcome you in your brokenness and in your wholeness, no matter who you have been, who you are, or who you are becoming. We greet you today with love. We're glad to have our children and youth for the full service today. Once a month, they join us for a multi-generational service, and today is that day. A special welcome to you if you are new to the church. If you're here in person, you can find a card in the back of the sanctuary where you can share contact information so you can receive the email newsletter. And if you're online, you can find a similar form under newcomers on the website. We're happy to have all our friends, new and old, who are watching us on YouTube this morning. Please introduce yourself in the comments and let us know where you're joining us from. Congregation, please turn around and wave to our friends on YouTube. Oh, it's not lit. The memorial candle will be lit for our longtime member, Mary Burgess. She died last month at 102 years old. Among her many talents, Mary was a gifted photographer. She made handmade cards with beautiful photography, which the Alliance used to send notes of care to ailing church members. Mary was a wonderful human being. We need more people like her. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church. And now the prelude prepares us for worship. Lighting the chalice. In lighting our chalice, we connect ourselves with many different people, the many Unitarian Universalists across space and time who also light or have lit their chalice. Our spiritual ancestors, with their dreams, good deeds, and even their failings. We light our chalice in Midtown, Oklahoma, on land that was home to first Americans, including the Apache, Caddo, and Wichita, on land that was taken from the Muskogee and Seminole and other removed and relocated peoples. We light the chalice as a symbol of our sacred time together. The burning chalice represents the light of reason and science, the warmth of loving community, the cleansing heat of justice, and the flame of hope. Today, the chalice was lit by Paul Spicer in celebration of his birthday later this week.
Our call to worship, that's on. Our call to worship today is from Thich Nhat Hanh's very small book called How to Love. It's a reading called Heart Like a River. If you pour, I'm Paul Spicer. My birthday's coming up, as you heard. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm middle-aged and of European ancestry. And I am not here to talk to you about the stewardship campaign. Again, this reading is Heart Like a River. If you pour a handful of salt into a cup of water, the water becomes undrinkable. But if you pour the salt into a river, people can continue to draw the water to cook, wash, and drink. The river is immense, and it has the capacity to receive, embrace, and transform. When our hearts are small, our understanding and compassion are limited, and we suffer. We can't accept or tolerate others and their shortcomings, and we demand that they change. But when our hearts expand, these same things don't make us suffer anymore. We have a lot of understanding and compassion and can embrace others. We accept others as they are, and they have a chance to transform. So the big question is, how do we help our hearts to grow? In that spirit, please take the next few minutes to greet those around you, sharing our welcome. Hymn number 183 will call us back to our spaces.
Again, that's song number 183.
Good morning. My name is Courtney Custer, she, her, and it has been a long week. I'm a federal employee. I got one of the fork in the road emails from Elon Musk. I was told I'd be better off to resign from federal employment. I was encouraged to take a productive job in the private sector and leave behind my low productivity job in the federal government. I've watched the past 3 weeks as inspector generals have been fired, diversity, equity, and inclusion staff have been fired, Justice Department personnel have been fired, USAID people put on leave, and the list goes on. Periodically during the day, as I attempt to concentrate on my spreadsheet or the policy that I'm looking at, I get a ping. Hey, did you see the new executive order? Ping, this one's about transgender people in the military. Ping, this one's about pronouns in your email. Ping, this one's about Schedule F, making some federal employees at will. I am constantly checking my phone to see what's next. Now, if you know me, you know that I am about organization and planning. If you don't know me, let me tell you that our dinners for the week have been planned, the groceries were bought this morning and put away, and our spice rack is organized alphabetically. That should give you the idea. All of this uncertainty is very stressful to me. As a federal employee, I've been repeatedly prompted to resign under the threat of reassignments, furloughs, and reductions in force, or RIFs. I have over 20 years of federal service, and never until now has it remotely crossed my mind that I might be fired. And yet, here we are in the middle of First Unitarian Church's pledge campaign. If you don't know, the pledge campaign happens every year at about this time, and members and non-members are asked to decide what monetary gift they would like to pledge to the church for the coming fiscal year, which is July through June. So our family had to decide, in the middle of all this chaos and uncertainty, what will we pledge? We talked, we turned in our pledge card. We increased our pledge for the next church year, not in spite of the current climate, but because of it. Not in spite of this climate, but because of it. It is very easy right now to feel overwhelmed and powerless. Things are happening so fast, and it's not just at the national level. As a parent of children in OKCPS, I get emails from the state superintendent of education that I can't bring myself to read. It would be so easy to throw up our hands and just quit, but we're doubling down. One thing I can do is invest in a place that continues to value diversity, equity, and inclusion. As we saw when leaders and members of our church participated in a protest at the state capitol last week. I can invest in a place that gives me tools for a grounding spiritual practice, as Reverend John Alou talked about last Sunday. I can invest in a place that will continue to champion gender diverse people, as we see through the work of our radical welcoming team. I can invest in a place that continues to affirm love as the ultimate power that will prevail at the end of the day. And you can too. If you are ready to make your pledge, if you haven't already, there's a QR code in your order of service. You can reach out to Marlise at the church office. You can check in at the activity table along the back wall during the activities after the service. Thank you.
I'm Maureen Harvey. My pronouns are she, hers, and I'm an older lady with gray hair and wearing pink and black today. Every Sunday we take an offering. Since 2002, all the cash and designated checks from that offering have gone directly to external nonprofit organizations doing good work, our Change for Change partners. The Change for Change partner this month is the Foundation for Liberating Minds. They work to disrupt the root causes of oppression and marginalization through transformative education. They organize trainings and workshops in addition to various community-based programs. Their work is carried out by Black-led, multiracial, multicultural, multi-ethnic collective of members. It's their ultimate goal to create the Liberation School of Oklahoma City, featuring their transformative anti-oppressive curriculum and holistic framework in order for students to thrive. For those of you who are in the sanctuary with us today, in just a moment we'll be passing the offering plate. And if you're watching us online, please make your gift by sending a check to First Unitarian. Just write "Change for Change" in the memo line, or make an online payment through our website, oneuc.org.
I was introduced to mindfulness by Pat Webb when we started teaching lessons on resilience to elementary school children through art and writing. I'm a board member of the Silence Foundation, whose mission is to practice and share the healing use of silence, stillness, and mindfulness. While reading the book, I Am Peace, I will show you the pictures, but the book's so small, you might not be able to see the beautiful illustrations. I will also be turning the book around to share the story with the choir. There are times when I worry about what might happen next and what happened before. The thoughts in my head are like rushing water, and I feel like a boat with no anchor, being carried away. I give myself a moment. I take a breath, and then I tell myself, it's all right. I feel the ground beneath my feet and steady myself. I start to notice the here and the now. My thoughts begin to settle. My mind begins to clear. I am peace. I can watch my worries gently pop and disappear. I let things go. I can say what I feel inside, out loud. I know myself. I can share kindness with others. I make a difference. I can hug a tree and thank it for its beauty and strength. I connect to nature. I can watch the clouds make shapes against the sky. I know wonder. I can taste and smell and touch and hear and see. What is all around me, I use my senses. I can feel my breath fill my whole body. I tune into me. Now the water is still. I have found my anchor. Everything is all right. I don't need to worry about the before and after. I am in this moment. I am peace. Now I share my peace with others and hope that it is carried away to those who need it. And I dream that we are peace.
I became a Buddhist in the fall, officially that is. I've been attracted to the ideas of Buddhism since my early 20s, and I've been practicing meditation since 2013, when John Lou and Elizabeth started the meditation group here in the church on Sunday mornings. Over the pandemic, I really leaned into my practice, and last January, on a whim, I joined Lori for the launch of a new Level 1 class at the Buddha Mind Monastery, part of a Zen tradition from Taiwan that has a gorgeous meditation hall out by Tinker. We continued with those classes through the fall when I was able to take the 3 refuges and the 5 lay precepts. Taking refuge, which is what made me a Buddhist, means that I took refuge in the Buddha as a teacher, the Dharma, the teachings inspired by him, and the Sangha, the community of Buddhists. The precepts are not to kill, not to lie, not to steal, not to engage in sexual misconduct, and not to use intoxicants. A lot of these are probably pretty familiar to many of us, except they include animals and the not killing, and the restriction on intoxicants seems like it's at a different level than the rest. They explained that they included it because using intoxicants can make you more likely to violate the other precepts, but I also think it's because, as the name Buddha Mind suggests, we are after a clear mind transformed by practice. What surprised me the most as we got involved with Buddha Mind was how much they focused on morality. Sure, we would practice for an hour at the start of every 2-hour weekly class, but it was clear that there was a very strong commitment to transmitting moral lessons, including a not insignificant amount of reference to magical events in the Buddhist tradition, which were presented as fact, and a very literal interpretation of karma. Even though I found these teachings sometimes hard to take at face value, the magic parts especially, I noticed that they had a pretty big impact on how I was thinking about my life. I found myself thinking through cause and effect much more, which was the expression they often used for karma, and taking the time to try to respond to the world with more compassion so as not to generate more negative reactions in the people around me. This requires a clear and calm mind. I was originally drawn to Buddhist meditation because it was the last thing in the world I wanted to do. So I knew I needed it. I have a very restless mind, and I find it very hard to sit still. And my initial experiences with extended meditation were very hard. When I joined practice periods through the online community at Upaya Zen Center over the pandemic, a Zen center in Santa Fe, I found the daily rhythms of their meditation retreats excruciating. And I would frequently talk to the teachers about the curious and rather unpleasant mixture of fatigue and restlessness that I would experience, especially in the second half hour of each meditation. But I stuck with it. and I now find myself much more able to take a seat and settle my mind. And I've started to see this off the cushion as well. Rather than reacting with anger to the frustrations in my life, I can, at least sometimes, take a second to think about alternate interpretations and responses, which opens up the possibility of responding with love. The tradition of Buddhism I practice is a later take on the Buddha's teachings, one that emphasizes the importance of wisdom and compassion, and is based on the idea that all of us can strive to become better people for the sake of the sentient beings around us. This is, I think, the point I wanted to make when we discussed making this service about love in the context of the Buddhist tradition. Valentine's Day is coming up, as you know. There are all sorts of ways we can love each other, but none of them are very effective or good if we're wrapped up in our own stuff and too busy to notice what others need. By learning to find peace, as the story puts it, I've been able to find love as well, and in some small way to begin making the world a better place. That is not at all why I started meditating, but I have to say it is one of the biggest rewards I have experienced because I did.
Let's see where I lost my place. Like Paul, I have taken the 5 precepts. My Buddhist meditative moments usually take place only at retreats, but the practice seeps in when I need it the most. Oops. But the practice seeps in when I need it most, which is lately. February 3rd, 2025, 3:49 a.m. 2 weeks in, the evil dismantling of democracy continues. My mind swirls with horrific visions of injustice, displacement of innocent, hardworking people, power threatening safe places, terrorizing children, unlawful acquisitions, purging of civil servants, unelected billionaires taking over the nation's payroll. I can't stand it. And there will be more. My soul is wounded from the onslaught. I cry, I curse, but what can I do? I go to church, I sing in the choir, I listen intently to the sermon. I participate in the service. It feels right, it feels good, I am home. Curiously, my spirit is aroused, emboldened, and longing for enrichment. Mindfulness kicks in. I breathe in, I breathe out. On a beautiful Sunday, I do the crossword outside in the bright sunlight. My dog Cookie is with me, chewing on a stick. Silly girl, why would she do that? I chuckle. An invisible bird squawks intermittently. Suddenly, I realize she's talking to me. Then I remember. It's time to put out the chili pepper suet I bought recently. I take the feeder down and I notice that the bird bath is dirty. It's in need of clean water. This I can do. That I did. Inside, the Christmas tree is still up. I can't bear to take it down. In the early morning hours and late at night, it illuminates the darkness. Not harshly, just enough. I remember. My inner child delights. Who says I can't have a Valentine's Day tree? I can fill it with symbols of love. And why not an Easter tree too? Eggs mean prosperity, rebirth. And who doesn't love cute little bunnies? Maybe then I can take it down, but not before. Definitely not now. I won't do it. This is as close to control as I can get. I'll manage my daily life, love like there's no tomorrow, find solace in beauty every day. It's there. This I know.
I'm Lori Jervis. My pronouns are she, her. Please join me in a spirit of prayer and meditation. Allow your hands to rest comfortably in your lap. Relax your shoulders and your hands. Gently close your eyes. Settle into your breath. Feel yourself breathing. In this practice, we will be cultivating loving kindness for both others and ourselves. Start by bringing to mind someone that is easy to love. It may be a human, an animal, a child, maybe a beloved grandparent. Thinking about them, close your eyes and see the face of that person or animal. Silently repeat these phrases after me to yourself. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Now, imagine someone that you know, although you may not know them very well. It could be someone here in this church. Maybe that person seems to be just going about their life, or maybe they are going through something very difficult. See their face in your mind. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Now, turn your attention inward, directing that same care and compassion to yourself that you've extended to others. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. Lastly, open your awareness in all directions to all beings everywhere. They may be above or below. They may be nearby or very far away. They may be living in wealth or poverty, in peace or war, abundance or hunger. Aware of the joys and sorrows that all beings experience, may all sentient beings everywhere be happy. May they be healthy. May they be safe. May they live with ease.
Good morning. My name is Tim Atkins, and I serve as the Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration here at the First Unitarian Church. My pronouns are he, him. Today I am wearing a rainbow gingham-colored shirt with rainbow glasses, and I am both big and tall. So I want to start off with a story today. It's a real-life story from our Unitarian Universalist history. So have you ever stopped to think about all the different people you love and all the different people who love you? There are many kinds of love and many ways to show that you love someone. Valentine's Day, coming up, is a holiday that celebrates love. People often give each other cards on Valentine's Day to show they care. Have you ever given a card to someone on Valentine's Day? Raise your hand. I see lots of hands raised. Well, receiving a Valentine can make someone feel special and appreciated, especially when it's a homemade Valentine. Think about the people you would give a Valentine to. Would you make one for your parents or grandparents? What about your cousins, your friends, or your neighbors? What about your state governor. Well, on Valentine's Day in 2005, thousands of Unitarian Universalists in California sent Valentines to their governor, who at the time was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Do you think they sent him Valentines because they loved him? Not really. They sent him Valentines because they wanted to teach him something about love. You see, California had a law at the time about who was allowed to get married and who was not. The law said if a man and a woman loved each other, they were allowed to show their love and become a family by getting married. But if two men loved each other or two women loved each other, the law said, nope, you cannot get married. Well, we're Unitarian Universalists. We're all about love. We value all love. When a law says that some people's love is better or more important than other people's love, we believe that is hurtful and unfair. Telling two women or two men who love each other that they cannot get married also means the laws won't protect them as a family. The law says their community does not have to help them share their life plans, their money, or even their children the same way other couples can. That's why UU congregations in California decided to get involved and speak out about the law. They wanted to tell the governor how important marriage equality was to them. If he understood that, they thought that he would understand and support marriage equality too. The California congregations could have made lots of phone calls to the governor's office or written emails, but that was not enough. They wanted to do something big, something colorful, something that would grab the governor's attention. So in the days leading up to Valentine's Day, people in almost every UU congregation in California made Valentines for Governor Schwarzenegger. Children and adults alike cut out paper hearts in red, pink, and all colors of the rainbow. They glued on ribbons, lace, sequins, feathers. They wrote messages of love, acceptance, and justice, because that's what marriage equality is all about. Dear Governor, wrote one woman from the UU Church of Berkeley, roses are red, violets are blue, all people deserve the same rights as you. At the Unitarian Society of Santa Barbara, people set up tables to make Valentines during coffee hour. People of all ages showed each other how to cut hearts out of folded paper. They made each other's cards fancy with curly ribbons and other decorations. The young people and older people working together felt joyful and hopeful as they decorated their Valentines. They talked about different kinds of love and how important it is for communities to support all kinds of families, to help love hold them together. They hoped their Valentine message would convince the governor. The Santa Barbara congregation mailed their Valentines to the UU Legislative Ministry in Sacramento, the capital of California. So did dozens of other congregations. They had 3,800 Valentines in all. The bags stuffed with Valentines were brought directly to the governor's office. Imagine thousands of Valentines all going through the metal detector at the state capitol building. It was a bold, beautiful statement for love. Later that year, when Governor Schwarzenegger had the chance to support marriage equality, he did not. But don't let that make you think that the Valentines weren't important. Sometimes it takes a while to change someone's mind. The governor did not forget about those Valentines, and a couple of years later, he decided he agreed with the many Californians that marriage laws were not fair. Maybe next time he'll be ready to stand on the side of love. The Valentine's Day action also helped Unitarian Universalists become leaders in the campaign for marriage equality in California. The children and adults who made Valentines for the governor showed everyone how our congregations can work together for justice. Even though UU numbers are small in California compared with other religions, sounds familiar, some of them were invited to a meeting where the governor explained his point of view about equal marriage. Then, California led a group of people from different religions to take the marriage equality campaign into the courts. It was all because of our Valentines. After that, Governor Schwarzenegger, his advisors, and everyone working for marriage equality in California knew how Unitarian Universalists can unite in faithful action and use the democratic process to push for fairness. UUs have not given up on the fight for equality. The journey may be long and difficult, but we must keep acting for love and justice. We hope we can persuade leaders like the governor to make our laws more fair, and we know we have to keep trying. So what I love about that story is how it takes a physical manifestation of love and puts that love into action about even more love. It's great. So, at one point before I became a professional religious educator, I would sometimes think we talk too much about social justice. Social justice always felt disconnected to my spirituality. But that all changed for me when I began to see social justice as faith development and started to wonder how I could move my thinking about my values to living out my values. Social justice is how we take our values from the theoretical into the practical. Social justice is the physical manifestation of our values, no matter where those values came from. Theology, philosophy, Star Trek, lived experience. The way we get those values out of our head and into the world is by acting on them, being guided by them, being vocal in the public square for them. So I have a thesis I want you to consider. Social justice work is the mindful application of your values. So let's explore that idea just a bit. It's somewhat easy to name our values. It's much harder to live them. And it's even harder to sustain that living when the work is slow, exhausting, and sometimes heartbreaking. We say we believe in justice, but when injustice happens, do we speak out? We believe in equity, but when we see inequality in our schools, in our workplaces, in our communities, do we act? Do we stand for liberation, but do we examine we say we stand for liberation, but do we examine the ways which we may still be complicit in systems that oppress others? Social justice work asks us to close the gap between what we believe and what we do. As Dr. Cornel West reminds us, justice is what love looks like in public. If love is one of our core values, and I have to think that it is, then justice must be one of our core practices. And not just justice in the abstract, but justice applied, thoughtfully, consistently, and mindfully. Now, when we hear the word mindfulness, we often associate it with stillness, meditation, or a kind of personal tranquility. And while mindfulness can certainly help bring us inner peace, that's not its only purpose. Mindfulness is about being present, being fully aware of what's happening in and around us. It's about not being so caught up in our own assumptions, fears, or distractions that we fail to notice the suffering or fail to respond to injustice. Thich Nhat Hanh, a great Buddhist teacher and activist, put it this way: compassion is a verb. That means compassion is not just a feeling, it's an action. And it's an action that requires mindfulness. A mindful approach to social justice means we pay attention. We notice when harm is happening, even when it does not directly affect us. We respond with intention. We do not act out of guilt or panic, but from a place of thoughtful commitment to what is right. And we stay in the work. We don't burn out at the first setback or disappear when the work is no longer convenient. That last one's especially important for us to hear in Oklahoma right now. We have to avoid burning out. This is going to be a multi-year marathon, not a sprint. This kind of work requires both courage and humility. The writer James Baldwin once said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." So what does the mindful application of our values look like in practice? It looks like learning without defensiveness. When we are confronted with perspectives that challenge us, do we listen or do we resist? It looks like showing up consistently, not just when it's easy or comfortable, but when it's hard. It looks like centering those most impacted, following the leadership of those directly affected by injustice rather than assuming we already know the answers. And it looks like balancing urgency with sustainability. We need to take care of ourselves so we can take care of others. It's not enough to fight for justice only when the headlines demand it. It must be part of our daily mindfulness practice. So I ask you today, what does it mean for you to apply your values mindfully? How are you already living them? What are you being called to stretch, to learn, to act? Because this work is not just for professional activists or policymakers. It's for all of us. It's for the teachers, the caregivers, the artists, the neighbors, the parents, the friends. As Unitarian Universalists, we do not come together just to affirm our values. We come together to live them. Because social justice work is the mindful application of our values. And our values, if we let them, will change the world. Thank you. I now invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our closing hymn, number 181, No Matter If You Live Now, Far or Near.
We extinguish our chalice flame, but not the light of love and community which burns in our hearts.
So after the service in Daniel Hall, you are invited to engage in some activities around mindfulness and love. We have an activity that will show us about the connections that we make amongst each other, a chance to make a love-themed pin or magnet, a chance to make Valentines for the governor or other elected officials, and a chance to write letters around some important legislation. So you're invited to join us in Daniel Hall down this hallway after the service. And now our benediction is by Pat Irby Lichty. Go out now with hearts and hands and minds renewed to the world that is waiting for you. Go out to the world to bring your gentle touch to those in pain. Go out to feed and house those in need. Go out to speak the truth to those with power. Go out with courage to do the work which calls you. Go out now with your passion and faith to change the world. Amen and blessed be.